Wall Street analysts have coined a new term called the taco trade. They're saying Trump always chickens out on your tariff threats, and that's why markets are higher this week. What's your response to that?
I kick out?
Chicken out.
Oh, and then I chicken out. I've never heard that. You mean because I reduced China from 145% that I set down to 100 and then down to another number? And I said you have to open up your whole country. And because I gave the European Union a 50% tax tariff, they called up and they said, please, let's meet right now. Please, let's meet right now. And I said, okay, I'll give you till July 9. I actually asked them, I said, what's the date? Because they weren't willing to meet. And after I did what I did, they said, we'll meet anytime you want. We have an end date of July 9th. You call that chickening out? Because we have $14 trillion now invested, committed to investing when Biden didn't have practically anything. This country was dying. You know, we have the hottest country anywhere in the world. I went to Saudi Arabia. The king told me, he said, you got the hottest we have the hottest country in the world right now. 6 months ago, this country was stone cold dead. We had a country people didn't think it was going to survive, and you ask a nasty question like that.
Trump always chickens out on your tariff threats, and that's why markets are higher this week. What's your response to that?
I kick out?
Chicken out.
Oh, and then I chicken out. I've never heard that. I mean, it's in South Africa. That's what I need to find out.
Mr. President, the Pentagon announced that it would be accepting a Qatari jet to be used as Air Force One.
What are you talking about? You know, what are you talking about? You know, you gotta get out of here. What does this have to do with the Qatari jet? We're talking about a lot of other things. It's NBC trying to get off the subject of what you just saw. You are a real, you know, you're a terrible reporter. Number one, you don't have what it takes to be a reporter. You're not smart enough. Go back, you ought to go back to your studio at NBC. They ought to be investigated. They are so terrible the way you run that network. And you're a disgrace. No more questions from you. Go ahead. His name is Peter something. He's a terrible reporter. Quiet.
That's my question now.
Let's go.
If they're committing genocide, why invite them to the White House? I'll be quiet. Sure, that's my question now.
Let's go.
Thank you so much, President Trump. Annika Larson from ENCA in South Africa. Thank you very much for hosting us. What would you like President Ramaphosa to do about the situation that we've just seen on the screen?
I don't know. Israel, as soon as we made the deal, they came out and they dropped a load of bombs, the likes of which I've never seen before. The biggest load that we've seen. I'm not happy with Israel. You know, when I say, okay, now you have 12 hours, you don't go out in the first hour and just drop everything you have on them. So I'm not happy with them. You know what? We basically have two countries that have been fighting so long and so hard that they don't know what the they're doing. Do you understand that? That they don't know what the they're doing. Do you understand that? Thank you very much. These guys got to calm down. It's ridiculous. I didn't like plenty of things I saw yesterday. I didn't like the fact that Israel unloaded right after we made the deal. They didn't have to unload, I'll tell you, and I'm telling you, I'm not happy about that, Israel, either. You know, when I say, okay, now you have 12 hours, you don't go out in the first hour and just drop everything.
והניצחון הזה יעמוד לדורות. אם לא היינו פועלים עכשיו, מדינת ישראל הייתה עומדת בקרוב לפני סכנת השמדה. אני מודה בשמכם לידידי הנשיא טראמפ ולארצות הברית, ההצטרפות של ארצות הברית למערכה, לא רק בצד ההגנתי, אלא גם בצד ההתקפי. זהו אירוע היסטורי.
This might not happen again. Say in a couple weeks then.
Tired of it. I think they don't want it to happen again.
Do you want to see regime change in Iran?
No. If there was, there was. But no, I don't want it. I'd like to see everything calm down as quickly as possible. Regime change takes chaos, and ideally we don't want to see so much chaos. And our B-2 pilots made this all possible. They had a magnificent hit in the dark of night with no moon, no light, no nothing. They hit the target perfectly, wiped it out.
Implemented on these nuclear sites. That as of right now, it does not appear that they ended or obliterated Iran's nuclear program. Instead, they only set it back by months, according to people who were briefed on the assessment. Now, these findings are obviously at odds with President Donald Trump's repeated assertions that the strikes, quote, completely and totally obliterated Iran's nuclear enrichment facilities.
You know what they're doing? They're really hurting great pilots that put their lives in the line. CNN is scum. And so is MSDNC. They're all, and frankly, the networks aren't much better. It's all fake news, but they should not have done that. Those pilots hit their targets. Those targets were obliterated. They're not after the pilots, they're after me. They want to try and demean. That place is gone. But when I see CNN all night long, they're trying to say, well, maybe it wasn't really as demolished as we thought. It was demolished. You take a look at the pinpricks, and you see that place is gone. And I will say, I think CNN ought to apologize to the pilots of the B-2s. Are real losers. You really are. You're real losers. You're gutless losers. I say that to CNN because I watch it. I have no choice. I got to watch that garbage. It's all garbage. It's all fake news. But I think CNN is a gutless group of people. And the people that run it, nobody even knows it's been sold so many times. But the people that run it ought to be ashamed. The press is very disrespectful. They said maybe it did destroy it. We agree it did destroy it, but maybe it could have destroyed it more. No, everyone hit. And it's very disrespectful to those great geniuses and patriots that flew those planes through tremendous dangers.
Generally regarded to be the wealthiest man who's ever occupied the White House.
I hope so.
How much wealthier are you now than when you returned to the White House?
Well, I don't know. The deals I made, for the most part, other than what my kids are doing, they're running my business. But most of the deals that I've made were made before. And that's what I've done for a life. I built buildings. Like I'm building a building here. You know where I'm building? You know what? You see that area?
Yeah.
That is going to be the greatest ballroom anywhere in the world. And so it gives me pleasure to do it for the country. And I'm paying for it. The country's not, and that's an expensive ballroom.
But is it appropriate, President Trump, that a president in office should be engaged in so much business activity?
Well, I'm really not. My kids are running the business.
But
I'm here.
you are also-
You know what the activity, where are you from?
I'm from the Australian Broadcasting Corporation, Four Corners
Well,
program.
the Australians, you're hurting Australia, right? In my opinion, you are hurting Australia very much right now. And they want to get along with me. Your leader is coming over to see me very soon.
President
I'm going to
Trump-
tell him about you. You set a very bad tone.
Well,
Go ahead, John.
Trump, when the
Maybe
UAE does a deal like
you can
that,
set a
when
nicer
the
tone.
UAE does what in return?
Quiet. Where are you from?
I'm from the Australian UAE does a deal. What does it want in return?
Quiet. Very much right now. And they want to get along with me.
Some auto executives are concerned that compromising the 15% for auto tariffs coming in hurts American automakers. What do you say to
Well, I haven't compromised anything. Where did I compromise?
going down to 15% from 25%?
Going down to 15%. We charge, well, and where did the 25 come from? It came from there.
Auto
Just so you
executives-
know,
some auto
they paid
executives-
nothing for years. Now they're paying 15%. And some things can pay more, like chips could pay more. Pharmaceuticals could pay more. There's a bigger margin. With a car, you have to make 15% before you make a profit. Pretty tough. Japan is paying us $650 billion. These are countries that paid us nothing until I came along. F-35 come from? It came from there. Mr. President, you tell
Just so you know.
And what do you make of Pam Bondi saying she's going to go after hate speech? A lot of your allies say hate speech is free speech.
You'd probably go after people like you because you treat me so unfairly. It's hate. You have a lot of hate in your heart. Maybe they'll come after ABC. Well, ABC paid me $16 million recently for a form of hate speech, right? Maybe they'll have to go after you. Look, we want everything to be fair. It hasn't been fair. And the radical left has done tremendous damage to the country, but we're fixing it.
You say to people who view that luxury jet as a personal gift to you, why not leave it behind?
You're ABC fake news, right?
Why
It's
not?
only ABC. Well, a few of you would. Let me tell you, you should be embarrassed asking that question. They're giving us a free jet. I could say, no, don't give us, I want to pay you $1 billion or 400 million or whatever it is. Or I could say, thank you very much. There was an old golfer named Sam Snead. Did you ever hear him? He won 82 tournaments. He was a great golfer. And he had a motto, when they give you a putt, you say, thank you very much. You pick up your ball and you walk to the next hole. A lot of people are stupid. They say, no, I insist on putting it. And then they putt it and they missed it. And their partner gets angry at them. You know what? Remember that, Sam Snead. When they give you a putt, you pick it up and you walk to the next hole and you say, thank you very much.
Respectfully, sir, as a businessman, some people may look at this and say, have you ever been given a gift worth millions of dollars and did not receive anything?
It's not a gift to me, it's a gift to the Department of Defense. And you should know better, because you've been embarrassed enough, and so has your network. Your network is a disaster. ABC is a disaster. Thank you very much for being here. Appreciate it.
Even when people get the smallest gifts, trinkets, when they're going overseas, the protocol is to have them looked at by security, to be screened, to make sure that there are no bugs implanted or other devices. This is a massive jet that will require a huge amount of money and effort to go forward to make sure it's not compromised.
Free's good. You know, if we don't have a lot of money right now to buy things like that, we've got 2 ordered. I don't know the legalities of it. If it's legal for him to accept that gift and be able to fly on that for the next 4 years or 3.5 years, I think it's great. It'll save us money.
Well, I mean, the reason we have the emoluments clause in the Constitution is to guard against countries essentially trying to buy favor with the President of the United States. And that's exactly what's happening here in this transaction.
It's synchronized. It's all from the trial. Trials take years. They take years. It's so crazy.
Qatar asked for anything in exchange for that $400 million luxury jumbo jet.
Well, I think what happens with the plane is that, we're very disappointed that it's taking Boeing so long to build a new Air Force One. We have an Air Force One that's 40 years old. Arab countries and the planes they have parked alongside of the United States of America plane, it's like from a different planet. When I first came in, I signed an order to get it built. And when I came back, I said, by the way, what's going on with the Boeings that are coming in? Well, sir, they're way behind, and they're way behind. I think Qatar has we've helped them a lot over the years in terms of security and safety, and they said we would like to do something. If we can get a 747 as a contribution to our Defense Department to use during a couple of years while they're building the other ones. I could be a stupid person and say, oh no, we don't want a free plane. We give free things out, we'll take one too. I would never be one to turn down that kind of an offer. And I think it was a gesture because of the fact that we have helped and continue to, we will continue to. All of those countries, Saudi Arabia, UAE, Qatar and others, we keep them safe. If it wasn't for us, they probably wouldn't exist right now. And I think this was just a gesture of good faith.
Do you plan to use the plane after you leave office?
No, I don't. No, it would go directly to the library after I leave office. I wouldn't be using it. No. Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody. It's a big day. I was very insistent that meeting take place. I think between India and Pakistan, ending a dangerous conflict of 2 nations with lots of nuclear weapons. I said, come on, we're going to do a lot of trade with you guys. Let's stop it. Let's stop it. If you stop it, we're doing trade. If you don't stop it, we're not going to do any trade. People have never really used trade the way I used it. That I can tell you. And we stopped the nuclear conflict. I think it could have been a bad nuclear war. In addition, yesterday we achieved a total reset with China after productive talks in Geneva. The best part of the deal was that we opened up China. China agreed to open itself up to American business to go in. And it would have been a great thing, I think, for China. And the bottom line is that they canceled it the last day. We were all set to sign it. And then I went a little bit angry. I got a little angry. They said they canceled the deal. The deal was done. It was all ready to be signed. And people went over, they came back to me, sir, they don't want to sign the opening up China. Well, the biggest thing that we're discussing is the opening up China, and they've agreed to do that, but it's going to take a while to paper it. You know, that's not the easiest thing to paper.
With China at the end of these 90 days, can the American people expect those tariffs to go back up to 145%?
No, but they would go up substantially higher. You know, at 145, you're really decoupling because nobody's going to buy. But they'd go substantially higher.
And then on Qatar, Mr. President.
I think you will have a deal, however.
Are you letting China off the hook for these 90 days, and do you really believe that they will follow through with non-tariff barriers and remove those?
Yeah, I think they're going to follow through. I think they want it very badly. I think they want the deal very badly.
I agree with the 30-day ceasefire.
I have a feeling they're going to agree. I do. I have a feeling.
And we did
Let's see what happens.
See, this is what the media does. Not going to work with me. This is why we're fighting the fake news media. This is why we're fighting slash and burn Democrats. This is why we're fighting hoaxsters. This group, this group right here, full of hoaxsters that peddle anonymous sources from leakers with axes to grind, and then you put it all together as if it's some news story. And when we know it, you know exactly what it is. I'm going to go roll some Easter eggs with my kids. Thank you very much.
President, sir? Have you spoken?
President, do you remain confident? Do you remain confident in success?
Oh, totally. Why do you even ask a question like that? We have recruitments that's at an all-time high. The spirit in the armed forces is fantastic. No, great confidence.
Using Signal to discuss those military plans.
Are you bringing up Signal again? I thought they gave that up 2 weeks ago.
There was a new report this weekend that he used in a separate chat that included some family members.
Just the same old stuff from the media. That's an old one. Try finding something new.
Thing about this story is that Daddy has learned how to take
service members. I don't know that they're comfortable with that. So,
or do you trust Jeffrey Goldberg, who is a registered Democrat and an anti-Trump sensationalist reporter?
War approaches its 3rd anniversary. Our message is clear. The bloodshed must cease.
Anything you'd like to say?
Better their lives. And that's what Make America Great Again is all about.
What do you want to say, sir, about the Signal chat controversy?
You know, what a big surprise that a bunch of a few leakers get fired and suddenly a bunch of hit pieces come out from the same media that peddled the Russia hoax, won't give back their Pulitzers. They got Pulitzers for a bunch of lies. Pulitzers for a bunch of lies. And on hoaxes, time and time and time again. And as they peddle those lies, no one ever calls them on it. See, this is what the media does. They take anonymous sources from disgruntled former employees, and then they try to slash and burn people and ruin their reputations. Not going to work with me, because we're changing the Defense Department, putting the Pentagon back in the hands of warfighters, and anonymous smears from disgruntled former employees on old news doesn't matter. So I'm happy to be here at the Easter egg roll with my dad and my kids, because this is what we're doing it for. These kids right here. This is why we're fighting the fake news media. This is why we're fighting slash and burn Democrats. This is why we're fighting hoaxsters. This group, this group right here, full of hoaxsters that peddle anonymous sources from leakers with axes to grind, and then you put it all together as if it's some news story. And when we know it, we know exactly what it is. So I'm really proud of what we're doing for the president, fighting hard across the board, and I'm going to go roll some Easter eggs with my kids.
Have you spoken to the president, sir? Have you spoken to the president?
Have spoken to the president, and we are going to continue fighting on the same page all the way.
All right, we're moving, everyone. We're moving. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go.
And released yesterday with Jeffrey Epstein, it left some lingering mysteries. One of the biggest ones is whether he ever worked for an American or foreign intelligence agency. So could you resolve whether or not he did? And also, could you say why there was a minute missing from the jailhouse tape on the night of his death?
Yeah, sure. If I could I just interrupt for 1 second? Are you still talking about Jeffrey Epstein? This guy's been talked about for years. We have all of the things. And are people still talking about this guy, this creep? That is unbelievable. Do you want to waste the time, and do you feel like answering?
I don't mind answering.
I mean, I can't believe you're asking a question on Epstein.
Is there a Trump put, though? Is there a pain in the market at some point you're unwilling to tolerate this idea of a Trump put? Is there a threshold?
I think your question is so stupid. I don't want anything to go down, but sometimes you have to take medicine to fix something. Say no mas, but I can only say that the attacks.
On the idea of crashing the markets on purpose, that there was some sort of deliberate effort on your part to have the market sell off. Can you talk about that?
No, that's not so. But I do want to solve the deficit problem that we have with China, with the European Union and other nations. And they're going to have to do that. And if they want to talk about that, I'm open to talking. But otherwise, why would I want to talk? I spoke to a lot of leaders, European, Asian, from all over the world. They're dying to make a deal. But I said, we're not going to have deficits with your country. We're not going to do that, because to me a deficit is a loss. We're going to have surpluses, or we're at worst going to be breaking even. But China would be the worst in the group, because the deficit is so big and it's not sustainable. Now we have hundreds of billions of dollars is pouring into our country on a monthly basis. It's pouring. It's already started because I put tariffs on. And eventually it's going to straighten out and our country will be solid and strong again. Yeah, I talked to the biggest in the world. I talked to the biggest of them all, many of them, but I've talked to, I would say 4 or 5 that are considered the biggest. You know what they said? We don't blame you.
On the tariffs, is it a negotiation now? Bloomberg, sir. Is it a negotiation or rules of the road?
Go ahead, another question, please. Sir,
about TikTok.
She asked too many questions.
Sir, about TikTok.
What I would say, President, if I could, 1 second, just make the point.
There's no games.
No.
He knows. Yes.
Congratulations.
And you know Stephen has done such a great job. We have. Do you have any questions, please? Go. Let's not start with CNN because they're just so wrong. Yeah, please.
Yeah,
Go ahead. Let's hear the question from this very low-rated anchor at CNN. Low-rated. Which one is that?
The man who was mistakenly deported to El Salvador.
Well, let me ask Pam. Would you answer that question?
Sure, President. First and foremost, he was illegally in our country, and in 2019, two courts, an immigration court and an appellate immigration court, ruled that he was a member of MS-13 and he was illegally in our country. That's up to El Salvador if they want to return him. That's not up to us. If they wanted to return him, we would facilitate it, meaning provide a plane.
So will you return him?
And you are doing a great job. Thank you. Stephen Miller, wait a minute. Could you just also respond to that question? Because, you know, it's asked by CNN and they always ask it with a slant because they're totally slanting because they don't know what's happening. That's why nobody's watching them. But would you answer that question also, please?
Yes, gladly. It's very arrogant even for American media to suggest that we would even tell El Salvador how to handle their own citizens as a starting point. That issue was raised to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court said the district court order was unlawful, and its main components were reversed 9-0 unanimously, stating clearly, and I can promise you, if he was your neighbor, you would move right away.
So you don't plan
But
to
the
ask
Supreme
for
Court is
anything
asking
getting
to.
And what was the ruling in the Supreme Court, Steve? Was it 9-0?
Yes, it was a 9-0.
In our favor?
In our favor, individual, at El Salvador's sole discretion, that we could deport him a second time.
Well,
no version of this legally ends up with him ever living here because he is a citizen of El Salvador. That is the president of El Salvador. Your questions about it per the court can only be directed to him.
I asked
¿Se lo liberaría, Presidente Bukele?
Can President Bukele weigh in on this? Do you plan to return him?
Well, I'm also not suggesting that I smuggle terrorists into the United States.
It's only
how can I smuggle? How can I return him to the United States? Like if I smuggle him into the United States, or whether of course I'm not going to do it.
Well, they'd love to have a criminal, witness to do it.
I mean, there's a fascination.
They would love it.
Yeah.
They're sick. These are sick people.
The President, Mr. President, you said that if the Supreme Court said someone needed to be returned, that you would abide by that. You said that on Air Force One just a few days ago.
How long do we have to answer this question from you? Why don't you just say, isn't it wonderful that we're keeping criminals out of our country? Why can't you just say that? Why do you go over and over? And that's why nobody watches you anymore. You have no credibility. Please go ahead.